everyone. So I am working on creating a Cricut Joy card from scratch. So I thought it would be really fun to take you along with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to design a Cricut Joy card in Design Space, but I'm going to use a variety of cuts and printable vinyl. So I thought this would be really fun. So I'm going to show you kind of behind the scenes on how I am going to approach this, just in case you want to get creative with your own Cricut Joy cards. So the material that I'm using today are quite a bit of things actually. I grabbed both a regular mat for the Cricut Joy and then the card mat. I also have a scraper tool and a little spatula tool and weeding tool. For the vinyl, I'm going to be using a pattern vinyl. So I have this really pretty watercolor vinyl, and I'm going to do a double layer text. So I am going to do a nice pink underneath. So I grabbed this pink color. And then I also am going to use this powder blue Cricut Joy card, and it's from this little Princess Sampler pack. And then I pre-cut my own little insert out of just some watercolored type scrapbook paper. I thought that would look really pretty inside. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use this pink color for the insert or if I'm going to use this little holographic insert. I haven't really decided yet. I'm going to play around with you guys when we get to the designing part of it. And then I have a little measuring tape just in case I need to measure anything along the way. But let's get into Design Space. I'm going to show you how you can design a card with pattern vinyl and also making cuts on the Cricut Joy card. So let's get started.
Okay, so now that we're in Cricut Design Space, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a little template for my actual Joy card just so I can get everything sized. So I'm going to go over to the shapes, and looking at my actual box of Cricut Joy cards, I can see that the cards are sized at 4.25 by 5.5. So I'm just going to go ahead and make my card that size. Okay, so I have the 4.25 and then the 5.5 because this is the direction my card is going to be in. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for us to see, and I can make this a nice light blue because that's the color of our card. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to come into images, and I am going to search, I think I just searched Joy card template, and it gave me some options for the little cutouts that go in the four corners for the insert cards. So I am going to choose, let's see, there's a lot of different fun options, but I'm going to just choose this one right here. So I'm going to click that and bring it in. Okay, and then if I have Shift held down on my Mac keyboard and then I rotate it, it will rotate it in increments that makes it easier to make sure that it's completely lined up. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that right on my card. Again, the blue card is just for measurement purposes, but these are going to be the little cuts, and you can see over in the layers panel here that they are going to be cut out. It has the little cut writing right here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text. So what I want to do is I want to go to the text box here, and I am going to grab the fonts and come over here to filter over here, and I'm going to say multi-layer, and I'm just going to browse through and see which font that I want to use. Okay, so the font that I want to use is called Don Juan. I really like this font. It's really, really nice. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to add my text in separate lines. So I'm going to say miss you on this card. So I'm going to add miss, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it up here, and then I'm going to add another text box for the you, and I think I'll add an exclamation point. I think that would be really cute. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, again, this is a double layer font, so we can turn on the second layer as well right here. So that is perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to bring this over to my card. Whoops, bring it over here. And I'm just going to get this sized how I want it. Okay, that looks about right. And I'm actually going to say align right. I think that's going to be really cute, just like that. And then I'm going to place a little heart down in this corner. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to images, and I'm just going to search for heart. And let's see what I can find in here. I just want something that's going to be cut out. So this is going to be perfect, just like this. And so let's make this white just so we can really see it on that card. But I'll bring it over here. I'm going to size this down. Looks perfect. And maybe I'll even kind of do a little angle like that. Okay, so I am all set. So now what I'm going to do is I like the placement of everything. This looks great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the square because we don't need that anymore. And so I'm going to hide this little card. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to select the heart and I'm going to select the little cut marks for the side and I am going to weld those together. Again, those are both going to be cut files. So those are going to actually cut with the blade. So into the card with the blade. So I'm going to say weld. That way those cut out together exactly like this. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and come up here. I'm going to click the miss and I'm going to come up here and say ungroup. And then I'm going to click the U and I'm going to come up and say ungroup. And now I'm going to grab the teal layers of each one. I'm going to drag them off. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach these together. And then I'm going to grab this one and attach this together. That way they cut just like this with the same alignment that I did in Design Space. So I'm just going to send this to the front. That way I can just place that right back on top. So what I'm going to do actually is I am going to make this the dark pink layer and we'll just do a dark pink here. And then I will make this a light pink layer. That way I know which one to place through the Joy at the right time. So I'll just make this a really light pink and that will be my watercolor layer. Okay, so we are all set to go. And now if you wanted to do something different, you don't have to place them, just like this. You could place them a little offset. That would be really cute too. We could try that as well. Anything is really, really fun. So you can get really creative with this. Part of it as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is everything is attached and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and select Make It. We have the Joy already set to go. And we are actually going to do multiple ways because we're using the card mat, so it will do the cutout of the little 4 notches in the corners plus the heart. But we're also going to need a regular mat as well for the vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and select multiple ways and it will allow us to make selections how we want to on here. So on this one, this is obviously going to be on card mat. I'm going to come down here and make sure 4.25 by 5.5 is selected. And then it looks like this is crooked. So let's go ahead and click shift and get this back where it needs to go. Okay, so that is all set and that's how that will feed through. Okay, and now, actually, you know what I need to do is I need to make it go this way. Okay, because my fold is going to be right here, if that makes sense. So I want it to be, the heart to be right over here. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is this one is going to be on a mat. This is going to be on a mat, and we are all set to go. Okay, so on the next screen, we have our Joy paired. We will go ahead and do the first cut first. And so on the card mat is going to have the insert card cardstock. And then when it's time to do the vinyl, I will come back in here and I will come back and browse all my materials. And I'll probably just select premium vinyl for my other cuts.
Okay, so it is calling for the card mat first, and I'm going to also remind you of why I went ahead and flipped that around in Design Space so that the heart was on the bottom. It's because my opening, my card opens just like this and the fold is over here. So when I place my card in my card mat, again, you're just taking that bottom part of your card and slipping it inside the sleeve. When I'm placing it in there, my card is actually like this, so I want my heart to be cut down here. So you just want to kind of make sure you're really thinking through how you're placing your materials on your mat in Design Space so that it cuts in the right way, so it doesn't do it the wrong way on your mat. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and load my mat into my machine here. It's going to make sure everything is aligned, which it looks good, and then I can select Go on my device, and it's going to go ahead and do the cut portion on the card. Okay, so that one's already done, and I have my vinyl loaded for my next cut. So I'm going to go ahead and say unload, and it did a perfect job. So what I'm going to do is take my little spatula tool, and let me go ahead and zoom in so you guys can really see. Okay, so now that I have my little spatula tool, I'm just going to kind of bend the mat to get one little corner up, and I'm going to slide my little spatula tool under there and just help that card come off the mat just like that. So we are good to go, and then the little cuts cut in the corners, and we have our little heart where it needs to be. It looks so sweet. It did a perfect job. Okay, so now what we can do is place those little pieces aside. Our card mat is done, and we can go ahead and load our vinyl into our machine next. Okay, so that one is loading, and this is going to do the bottom cut. So again, that is a multi-layer font with 2 layers, so this is going to do the bottom layer first. Okay, the first cut is done, so we'll load the second really quick. It did a really nice job. Looks perfect. And we'll go ahead and load this little watercolor, and I'll link this below. It's really pretty. I did another craft with it when I made a pen cup for all of my little pens, and I used this watercolor vinyl. It looked really nice, so I'll link that tutorial if you want to see that as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and unload my second mat, and I'll go ahead and actually cut off my remaining pieces. That way I have some more scrap pieces to use for another project. And if you haven't seen how I now store my scrap materials, I'll link that for you because it seriously has changed how I use my scraps. It makes it so much easier. I'm really loving it. Okay, so real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my weeding tool and I am going to, let me weed this one first. I'm not going to get rid of my mat just yet because I'm actually going to use this to really help me align my double layer font. So let me take my scraper tool. I just like to make sure everything is in place before I get to weeding. I'm going to press everything down in its spot, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the background layer. Weeding is just removing any part of the image that you do not want in your final project. So it just is the surrounding area and then going back through and getting the middles of the letters, such as this O. So this is our bottom layer. What I'm going to do is I am going to stick that bottom layer right on the mat because it's going to help me in just 1 second to have it really in its spot. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with this layer right here. Just make sure that it's all pressed down, and then I will really quickly weed this out. Sometimes it's hard to decide what to do with patterned vinyl, and so this is another great idea. You can always make really fun cards with it, and it makes a really fun little look on your final card. Okay. Now with pattern vinyl, if you have a pattern that is very different across the whole sheet, you can place whichever part in the machine that you really want to showcase. So no two cuts will really be the same, really. Okay, so for this, I didn't introduce this, but we are going to be using a masking tape transfer tape. That's a tongue twister. It's a masking paper transfer tape. It is really, really light, so it's not really aggressive, and you want something that is really light in grip for working with paper. So that's why I'm going to grab this. I would not recommend using a regular strong grip transfer tape because at this point we are going to be placing the vinyl on paper as our base, and if you use a really strong transfer tape, it's just going to rip it right off the paper. You'll see in a minute a little demonstration of why that's going to be easiest. I can even trim that down just a little bit more so I can save some materials. But what I'm going to do now, when it comes to layering vinyl on top of one another, just do it the whatever way that you like to do it best. This is the way that I'm going to show you. This is the way that I really like to do it, but if you like to do it differently, then by all means do it the way that you like to. So I'm just going to lay it over my top layer. So it's the layer that's going to go over this layer, and I'm going to press down. And the transfer tape is what's going to take the letters off of the carrier sheet that it was cut on. So I'm going to split this over one more time, press down, and then with it still faced upside down, I'm going to remove that little carrier sheet, and then I can toss that in the garbage. Okay, so now I'm going to place this on my little design here, and it's going to be a little hard just because this is not a transparent transfer tape, but I'm just going to do the best that I can. And this is why I want this on my mat right here, because it just keeps it steady. And do I want to do an offset, you guys? It might be kind of cool to do it offset. Actually might be easier too. Let me see. Let's see which way I want to do it as well. I think that would actually be really cool. Okay, final answer. We're going to do a little offset. Okay, so I'm just going to lay it down once I have it where I want it. It's going to be really cute. Okay, lay it down, grab my scraper tool, and really press down. So now we are grabbing that second layer, that darker pink, and we're getting ready to place that underneath. Okay, So now we can go ahead and take this off of our mat. I'm just going to turn my mat over and gently get that off, bending the mat and not the material. Okay, and I'm going to do another little scrape on the back as well. Okay, now with it laying down again, face side down, I'm going to peel away. Okay, and now I have both layers on my transfer tape. Okay, so now let's get it on the card. This is going to be really cute. I'm excited for the reveal here. So I'm going to just place this where I would like it. Let's see here. Probably right about there. Looks good to me. Okay, so now I'm just going to lightly rub that down with my finger here. I'm just kind of going over all of my little letters. You can do a light little lay down with your scraper tool as well, but really I kind of think your fingers are just fine for this part. It's almost just like a sticker at this point. Okay, so now this is why it's important that you use a really light grip transfer tape, because now you're going to be peeling this tape off of your paper. So you don't want anything super strong, because if you do have something super strong, it's going to rip your paper. So you're just going to peel away very slowly, very carefully, and it does just a fine job. So it's always nice to have a nice light grip transfer tape around. I use this for pretty much everything though. Oh my gosh, that looks super cute. I'm so excited that I did the offset at the last minute. That offset looks really neat. Okay, so now we'll have to decide if we want to do, so again, this is cut down to the insert card. So I just looked at the insert cards that I have, and it says the inserts are 4 inches by 5.25, so I just trimmed that down with my paper trimmer. So let's see what this looks like inside. So I'm just going to place it in the little corners here, just like this. Oh, it looks really cute with the pink. I kind of want to try it though with the holographic and see how that looks, because it might just be super, super wild and fun. Okay, so let's try the holographic as well. So the holographic inserts, those are just, aren't they really cool? If you guys have been following me for even just a little bit, you know that I am a little bit more soft toned in like the colors that I choose. I really like pastels. So holographics kind of get my, I don't know, my heart rate going a little crazier. They're out of my comfort zone, but I have to admit that I think they're really, really cool. This is kind of one of the areas that I allow myself to go crazy. That's really pretty too. What do you guys think? I'm not sure which one I like better. I don't think you can really go wrong. What I do like is that this is really, really colorful in the watercolor, and then what this does is it picks up different colors as it moves, so it's really kind of neat. I'm not sure. What I could do also is just slip this right under and just see which one I kind of like better. I don't know. I think it's a toss-up, but I kind of like the pink. What do you guys think? Is everybody going to vote holographic and I'm going to be the only one who likes the pink? I don't know. They're both fun, but I guess the lesson learned in this is that you really can't go wrong. You can do either one and it's going to look really cool. So either one, it will look really, really nice. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. This is a really fun way to get creative if you don't want to use the pre-made card designs that Cricut Design Space already has. They're wonderful because you can just click and go and they're really fast. But if you want to just get out of your comfort zone and try something a little bit different and get your creativity just really going, then this is a really fun way to do it, and it's also a fun way to use your pattern vinyl. Make sure you give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please be sure to subscribe if you are new here, and I will see you all in the next video.